Okay, Sparky.
Alrighty then. So you had a taste of summer or spring on Monday, and now you're back into winter.
Unbelievable.
Only a few hours. It was only
Yes.
it was like 4 hours of that taste. That's all.
I know. All the mice were like, oh my God, we can finally get out of Robbie's house. And then they went outside, and Tuesday they went, oh, screw that, I'm going back.
Yep, that's what it was like.
So anyway, so whether your motivation is a new furnace or an air conditioning, you do need to know the terms used to make an educated decision when you're planning this, right? So if you better understand the words being used or when your contract is being presented, then you'll have a better educated decision. So let's starting with the planning of your new system. So when you buy a new air conditioning or heating unit, and you want to replace the old one, obviously, the installer needs to know how big, right? Or more importantly, how small the unit should be.
Yep.
So in order to know exactly how big or small it should be, you need to do the calculations.
No.
right?
You just look at the unit and you say, is it too hot in here? And they say yes, then you go smaller. If they say no, it's still cold, then you put a bigger unit in. You're done.
That was always a good thing when gas was cheap and electric was cheap. It was the bigger hammer theory.
Sure.
I'm cold in the back bedroom. No problem. We'll put 120,000 BTU furnace in.
Yeah, you only need 40, but we're going to do that. We're going to put 100.
Right. So what happens is you start throwing gas up your flue pipe.
Wait a minute.
Tag that right there.
You
got it,
start
Randall?
throwing gas up your flue pipe.
That's right. You got gas going up your flue pipe because you put a bigger hammer in your basement.
That's right.
Doesn't gas
so
usually come out
you
your
need to do the
flue
load
pipe?
calculations.
What's my flue pipe? Gas comes out.
You go from
Is
your
that a MacGyver
burner
in your
up
pocket?
to flue.
Let Rich finish
All right.
his job.
Enough. This is the only serious part of the show we have in 3 hours, and you're making this difficult. So you need to do a manual J. The manual J calculation is to determine the heating and cooling loads of your home. And that will then get you in the direction. Once you know the loads, you can then figure out the tonnage or BTUs of the equipment you need. Manual S is how you select the equipment so that it becomes the right size, or it is the right size. Manual D is a method used to determine the overall duct layout, including individual duct sizes. Now, in an existing home, you're not really going to change your ducts, whack, whack, but you want to make sure everything is...
This is the only serious part of the show. Quack, quack.
You want to make sure that the duct sizing is correct, otherwise you will not get the intended amount of airflow.
Quack, quack.
All right, now to the equipment.
Okay.
SEER, S-E-E-R, the SEER rating,
Seasonal.
which is Seasonal Energy Efficiency Rating.
Got it.
This is used on air conditioning equipment, and it is the cooling output during a typical cooling season divided by the total electric energy input during the same period.
Okay.
So we're saying how much cold air am I getting out with all the juice I got going in?
That
Right?
simplifies it. Sure. Yeah.
That simplifies it. The higher the SEER rating, the more efficient it is. So I believe 14 SEER is your minimum at this point.
Okay.
I know it is for us. 14 is our minimum.
Okay.
I typically put in 18 to 22 SEER equipment,
Wow.
all variable speed, because it doesn't cost that much more. You do it once and you're good.
Right. Right.
But what it does is it runs almost continuously, but only at 15%. So
Sure.
it's actually using very little electricity, but what you have is no hot and cold spots because you have air movement. So
Right.
more comfort. Okay. FU.
Gesundheit.
What's a
I knew you were
foo?
going to do that, so I hesitated. AFUE. That is the annual fuel utilization, something like that.
Uh-huh.
So that's the percentage of fuel energy used to heat your home.
Okay.
So that's for furnaces, obviously.
Yep.
So if a unit has an AFUE of 90%, that means 90% of the unit's fuel produces heat and 10% goes up your flue.
Goes up the flue pipe.
That's right. So Most everything now is minimum 90%, I would say. But you get to the condensing furnaces and stuff where they're pushing 9%,
Uh-huh.
because they're literally going through a second heat exchanger and trapping that heat
Yes.
from the off-gassing in another exchanger and then condensing the fluid. So it's pretty cool what they do with them.
Yes. Yeah, it is. But it has to be sized properly in order to work that efficient. So
Absolutely.
even though it's out of the box at 90%, if the ductwork and the way it's connected is all wrong, it's not going to run at that 98%. And hopefully I just didn't take your your last point.
No, and actually it's true and it's not true. No matter what you do, that furnace is going to operate at 98% efficiency. Now, whether you get the true effect of the efficiency is what's going to change. You know what I mean? So
right.
Because one's a burner design or a heating design, the other is the efficiency overall and comfort. And you're absolutely right. Without the right duct sizing and so on, it's a mess. And then if you've got a boiler or if you would go to I'm sorry, not a boiler, but a heat pump, then it's an HSPF. That's the heating seasonal performance factor.
Okay.
That's specific to heat pumps, and it's used to calculate the efficiency of unit in heating mode.
Excuse me.
And again, the higher the number, the more efficient. So if you have any questions about your heating equipment or cooling equipment, since you may or may not need it this summer,
right?
If you guys ever get summer, send an email, rich@mightyhouse.net or ron@mightyhouse.net.
Sure.
And we'll help get you squared away with that. But those are your terms you got to look for when they're talking to you.
Yeah, and a lot of guys just come in, they look to see what's there, and they ask you if the house is comfortable, and if if people say, yeah, no, it's fine, then they just put the same thing back in. If they're not doing those calculations and doing the testing that needs to be done, on the ductwork and everything, then you just really don't know what you're getting. And I think probably the biggest thing is the variable speed blowers today are worth every penny. It's worth the upgrade to go with the variable speed. I've got the variable speed now in my house, and it makes a big difference. And the comfort.
Yeah, I like it. Most of the ones we do are variable speed, and they run quieter.
Yes.
They're not hard starting.
Yes.
They just sort of mosey along.
Yep. It makes a big difference on comfort. We'll be back right after this.
This is Mighty House. Mighty House will return